Hey folks, it's Angel. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're taking a look again, yes again, at Carenado's PC-12. This is an add-on livery, hence why the number's weird at the back, but there's been a big update to this aircraft, and that's why I'm flying it. Now, we're down here in, well, Tierra del Fuego of Argentina. We're taking off from Rio Grande, which is actually Hermes Quijada International, and we're flying down to Patagonia into a little grass strip called, and I'm going to really screw this pronouncing this up, Yenagaya, I think it is. There'll be a link in the description for you to download it yourself. It's a gorgeous little strip right on the southern tip of the world. Why am I down here? Well, I want to go bush flying, so we're nice and warm. For once, Tierra del Fuego is not the cold land. It's pretty decent right now. It's the middle of summer, so let's get ourselves going, shall we? Now, we'll go over some of the updates once we're going here, but you'll already notice things are a lot smoother, which is great. So, let's power everything on here. My gear is down and locked, as it should be. I'm out the way here. The system is turned on as it needs to be. Cabin lighting is where it should be. Okay. Fuel cutoff is open. Wait for these to start up, and we're going to get ourselves rocking and rolling up here, which requires fuel pumps to be on, ignition on, and starter on. Let's make sure all our levers are where they should be. They're all where they should be. That should be cut off. Whilst this spools, we're going to hit our starts there. Okay, torque's coming up, so put that in and we'll give it some gas and we'll get ignition. Everything's coming up nicely. Wonderful. I'm not going to de-ice, it's the summer, so I'll leave the de-icing stuff off. Okay. Still pretty dull, but not sure why. Meh. It's my anti-icing warning, don't need that. Okay, we're ready to rock here, so there's the surge of a flight sim turboprop. Okay, right. Let's get that off here, and we'll get ourselves taxied out. Winds are about 11 knots today, so we're departing on runway 8. When I can work out where that is, that'll be over here. We've got our head turned on here. Got our flaps set for takeoff. Now, we're going to 2,000 feet of grass, which is just about what the PC-12 should really be able to deal with. Well, it can do that pretty well, but it's on the shorter end of the spectrum. Still, taxi's very fast. That's one of the downsides of this aircraft is, no matter what you do in terms of a realistic taxi, it's still going to go pretty quickly. So we have about 6,500 feet of runway here, more than enough, and we're taking runway 8 today. Get ourselves out here. We'll start talking about the plane once we get in the air. Shouldn't be a long trip, about 18 minutes for us once we're airborne. One of these days I'll have to do some flights on VATSIM for you all and actually talk to the controllers if there are any. But it's one of the advantages of being a sim. I get to talk to you, the viewer, not a controller most of the time. Okay, rolling now. Needles alive, we're gaining speed. He's back here and up. Positive, gear up. Power back from max takeoff. And flaps retracting. So we're taking off out towards the ocean right now, which means once we clear the land, we're going to turn ourselves south and get ourselves going on course here. Down below us is Rio Grande. Another Rio Grande, yes. Okay, let's get ourselves turning here. You immediately notice how much more FPS we have. Carenado have fixed this. I will say, I like their aircraft. I'm not a huge fan of some things they do with their aircraft, but I do like their aircraft. One of the problems is typically if there are problems with an aircraft, they will not fix it, or it doesn't receive a fix. Now, I'm not sure if this has anything to do with an upcoming project by a different developer who has a bit of a knack for nailing turboprops. I will leave that there. But one of our other well-known favourite developers, of course, working on a PC-12, imminent with several versions, including the NG and the Classic. So maybe Carenado thought, if we actually want the market share of this, we do actually need to update and fix ours. Because it's been pretty rough for about, well, since release. Which was, I believe, about 3-4 months ago. 3 months ago, maybe. Okay. Turn a little bit to the north and get ourselves on track here. Now, what has Carenado changed? I'm going to have to quickly look here as I scroll. So, we have fixed a bug that causes battery draining. That's important. We like batteries. They're very useful for an aeroplane. I'm going to get myself below this cloud a little bit here. Let's switch that to our flight plan route. There we go. They have fixed the way to balance default loading configuration. Another important one. Fixed the GPS approach capability with GP using GTN-XI. They have fixed the fuel pump initial condition. They have fixed, improved IAS indication and corrected for temperature. They have fixed fuel pump initial... Oh, no, we got that one. Improved electrical system logic. Improved FPS performance. That's a big one that really stopped me flying this plane, because boy was it awful. They have implemented a new EHSI display features. They've got fully functional GPU and minor bug fixes. So the big thing here was FPS. This was a chonker, and by chonker I mean a real little tubby one. It was awful. I was really struggling on FPS myself. Now, smooth performer with zilch on the way of issues. So if you really want to fly a PC-12, and they are quite nice, you now can. Another, should we say, unimproved runway capable, I wouldn't say bush, but unimproved capable turboprop with decent passenger and cargo capacity. Great for things like Fps Economy and the other sim economy game modes and games you can buy as add-ons for the sim. So now this is a pretty viable aircraft if you like having more than a slideshow. And we do have news, of course, that Carenado's latest aircraft, now they released a bunch of aircraft, including the Bonanza, we had the Beech 18, and it has escaped my brain, but a couple of others recently that have been for the, shall we say, aircraft of the month, or aircraft of a DLC, which is weird because those famous flyers used to be related to the DLC. So the one in Australia was related to Australia, the one in Canada should be related to Canada. For some reason we got a Cessna 195 for Canada, which doesn't make a ton of sense. That was, however, corrected when we got a free Beaver. So there is that. But Carenado's releasing their first full fidelity aircraft, I guess, since, I believe, this. And it's the PA-28-181 Archer. Yes, the Archer 2. Now, those of you who flew in FSX and FS 2004 will remember that one. It has been a long time since we saw their aircraft, and it was before their HD era. So this is perhaps a sign we might see a couple of other aircraft from that era coming along. Here's me hoping for the 206 and the 208 and the 185. The 185 for all aircraft, please give me, I would love it. Please. Especially if you're going to do it as a Tundra wheel float ski option. That'd be great. Now the Archer is the 180 horsepower PA-28. It's a fixed gear, more modern design wing. So it's not the Hershey bar, it's the modern PA-28 design wing. And it goes at a pretty decent clip. You can get about 145 out of that thing. It will fly very nicely. Great little PA-28 if you don't want to deal with the arrows or others. It's faster than the Warrior, but it's not as fast as the arrows. So there is that. But I'm excited for that one. And, most importantly, Carenado may be finally ditching their old men in the cockpit. I haven't looked at this externally since I actually took off, so let's actually do that, shall we? Take my head off here before we do that. Oh, look! My pilot. Okay. Didn't know they changed it in this. I believe when this first released it had the old gentleman in it. Now it has your choice of pilot. So maybe that came with the update. I don't know if they mentioned that or not. I actually forget if this came with these as pilot options, but a lot of things like the Skymaster and earlier did not. It's unfortunate. But it does seem as though a trend has shifted that Carenado are now releasing aircraft with the default sim pilot options, which is greatly beneficial. So we're in VLOC mode there. We'll just switch on the autopilot for a second while we faff around with buttons and play with what we've got here in the cockpit. Where's my altitude? We'll hold at where we are right now, about 2500. We'll let this take us on course. And it should take us on course. We are in the correct mode. Quite aggressive bank angle there. Now we'll turn this off whilst we get a little bit closer in there. Pull our torque back a little bit. There we go, looking good with that. Okay, so we've got some apparently new functionality down here. Now this, of course, has brightness control, which would be lovely up there. I'm sure there is a knob somewhere, but we'll try and find that in a second. So... no, that's the power. Okay. So we have the Avidyne system here. Traffic display on, off. I don't think much of this has changed. We can switch to terrain. It's now turning us on course here. We're in the small inlet there in Patagonia. Weather overlay on, off. These do all look fairly standard, but it does seem to all be performing a lot better, even with this turned on. So we're on track now. We may need to gain some altitude here, so... let's give it a vertical speed increase. Switch to... what are we looking for here? We've got altitude deselected. Why aren't you moving? What have I done? Doesn't seem to want to climb. That's most likely just me, though. Now it's trying to descend. I'm now terrible when it comes to autopilots. I like to hand fly a lot of things, so I can never work out the different autopilots in different aircraft systems. So we do have some buttons down here, but they do not seem to do anything other than be fluffy. Okay, that actually does a test, but that's about it. Do we have any knobs or dials that pertain to that system anywhere else in the aircraft? Carenado is also pretty famous for not including manuals with their aircraft. Cabin pressurization tools. This is for our nav system. Okay. Not relevant to what we're looking for. No, the dimness thing is also sometimes a bug with the sim itself, but those are very, very dim. Quite hard to read the engine instrument readouts. I will take a quick look at the electrical panel before we lose altitude here. Automatic for that. It should be back there, but earlier we didn't change that one over. Okay. Now, I'm pretty sure I'd have to go and actually find a manual for the PC-12 to see if there's a brightness switch for that panel. I haven't. I do apologise if you were hoping for me to do so. Screw auto, we'll do this ourselves. And we'll make sure we turn off the cursed yaw damper. Get a little bit of altitude. It's only 10 minutes of flying left to go. We'll be just fine. So, sim performance so far from the aircraft has been better than my first review. I will say that, much better than my first review. Considerably, in fact. I am much, much happier with this aircraft now. If this had been in this state when it first came out, I would have given it a far higher score. I don't always give things scores. I should start doing that more regularly. But now, electrical bugs are not a problem anymore. The battery draining is not a problem anymore, because if you flew for over an hour of flight in the original version, your batteries would die. It wasn't working. So even if you had the alternator running, the battery would just die. So you are somewhat screwed. Now, keep ourselves on track here. I've been just waving off course there. Keep an eye on this terrain. Not the prettiest here, but I promise you once we get closer to Yanagaya, it is much more pretty once we get down to the Straits, which is not too far away, 35 miles over this sadly satellite neglected area of South America. Now, the PC-12 has been done very well by Carenado, as I try and just stabilize myself here. There we go, a little bit of a climb, we'll just keep it at that. Unfortunately, there are no... I don't believe we have camera modes in the back of the aircraft. We've got down here, we've got a... What are you? Huh. Maybe that'll help us. Oh, it does! Surprise, frickin' prize. There's our instrument lights. That's more like it. We can actually see something now and there. That shouldn't be necessarily tied to the instrument lights. That should be brighter on its own. And it does have a menu in that actual display system, so we should technically be able to change it in there. Okay. Now, unfortunately, we do not have a way back here in the standard views. But it's as nice as we expect from a Carenado plane. It's got all the toys, apart from the pull-out seats, unfortunately. We have the cargo area back there. And the usual things we expect. Now, I believe this one is compatible with our various systems here. We have got our tablet. So the static elements, the tow bars, the pilots, co-pilot, passenger doors, cargo doors. And we have the ability to select our GTN options. So, of course, the TDI, the PMS, various options for those. So if I wanted that on, I could just switch it out, which is nice. Now, I think I installed that. I don't know why flight mode's there for starting. So, the tablet functionality is here. That does work. And we're starting to get into the prettier area of terrain here. So we'll switch our head back on and start getting ourselves in a flying gear rather than looking at an aircraft options mode. Bring our nose down. I've always liked the PC-12 as an aircraft. It's a very utilitarian aircraft, while still being the sort of thing that people will fly executively or for more remote jobs as well. Obviously, it's a lot used in Australia, Africa, Canada. They're a very versatile aircraft, and they offer you a decent cruise speed, and also the ability to... We're doing 247 knots right now, in a plane that can land on fairly rough runways, and it's a complex aircraft with retractable gear, meaning that we have a good cruise speed of a clean aircraft, unlike a lot of things like the Kodiaks and the Caravans, but we also have good rapid cruise speed, pressurization, we can go to altitude, and it has a really good configurable cabin in the real aircraft. So you can do all cargo, you can do combi, you can do all passenger, and you have a big cargo door back there. We'll open that once we get on the ground, but the cargo door is pretty significant. You could fit a lot in there. So they get used for a lot of medevac type operations as well, because they have such a really easily loaded cabin, and they make for a good bush sprinter. I think it's probably the best way to phrase it. You're going to need room to land, but you will manage to land no problem whatsoever. Okay, so we should be just over this range in front of us, and we should have no trouble whatsoever getting there. Turboprop, nice amount of power, we can go where we need to. Of course, its maximum kind of range is going to be about 1700 miles, which again does dwarf some of its competitors in that more rough, unimproved airfield market, really, which is very useful. Used all around the world. All around the world. In fact, it's used militarily in quite a few places. Bulgaria, Afghanistan, the US, Finland, Switzerland, South Africa, or use them in the military. So they're very useful as liaison aircraft. Right. A little bit more power here. Trying to find exact numbers on her landing distance. That's a mountain. Look at your window, not at your cell phone. 2,500 feet. So, okay, we're going to be chopping off 500 feet here. So, we're going to have to improvise a little bit. I believe I tested this one at Zell in Austria. And that had about 2,100. And we made it there. So, 2,000 feet of grass, we should do pretty well. Because grass is a bit more frictiony than asphalt. So, it should help us slow down. We are going to have to use every inch of this runway, so that's to be considered. Let's bring our torque up here. We need a bit more power now. So this is the one thing that I always say to people when they ask why I don't use VR in the sim, because I do occasionally have to look things up and look at my iPad for navigation or any notes I've made for a flight. I had notes for this flight, and it becomes difficult to do that because suddenly, oh, pretty. Distracted by the view. You can't see those things. I'd love to fly in VR. If I was simply an enthusiast, I would totally do that. Although I do quite like having my iPad and Garmin Pilot. That's really useful. I will say VR is a very much you're doing it for the experience. I'm one of those simmers myself, and this is a personal anecdote here. I like to do other things. Now, I'm a miniature wargamer. I really enjoy things like Warhammer, D&D, those sort of things. And I will very frequently, at my desk where I have my sim stuff, I will put autopilot on and I will paint or model while I'm cruising. I'll kit bash a model, I'll create something or sculpt something, or I will simply just put paint to plastic because I enjoy it. And it's a nice thing that I can do both at once. Plus, drinking tea, wearing a VR headset, difficult, can confirm. Tea is very important to me in my flying. In fact, the more tea I have, correlates to exactly how good I can fly. So without one, you struggle with the other. It's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. Okay, we're about just under 2 minutes out now. So we should be finding the airport very soon. I believe it's just over this ridgeline. We're in a bit of a bay where this airport is set up. Sierra, Charlie, November, Yankee. Pretty sure that'll be us coming up ahead here. So I'm going to power back here actually. God, there's some beautiful terrain out here, isn't there? Look at that. Unfortunately, the satellite imagery does struggle a little bit, but just look at the landscape. It's wonderful. Think about some of the German warships hiding here during the First World War when they were chased by the British squadrons. I forget the particular one it was, but I have to look that up. I need to know that now. Trying to find out which one it was. Do I mean German warship World War I Patagonia? Yes, exactly what I meant. Thank you. Dresden. It was. Was it the Dresden? I think it might have been the Dresden. Okay, we're down below us here, so head switched on, and we're going to be swinging out over the bay there. Our airport's down below us to our left. Or just down below us here somewhere. Again, there'll be a link in the description to this airfield. It is a gorgeous little strip when we get down there. Just behind us there, you see? So we're going to have to come in following that line of the coast to our left-hand side hard. This area is beautiful. Absolutely stunning. I just wish there was more down here. Pretty sure that line is not meant to be at the bay of that inlet, but we'll go with it. Something's confused at least. Okay. I'm going to set up on a nice long run in. Wind's about 2 knots here, so we're not really worrying about headwind or tailwind. By my last report of weather, it was 355 at 5. Actually, that's a bit more than 2 knots. I believe, based on our current heading, we'll be coming in on 3-1, as expected. So we should be good. Okay, power's back to idle here. Gonna bring around a nice sweeping turn in. We'll make an approach, and if we don't feel good about it, we'll go around and we'll come back in again. We'll see just how this baby handles now. I'm not actually watching a slideshow. The flight simulator, and actually able to fly it. Wow, look at that ridgeline there. That is gorgeous. Okay, I've got the airport visual. It's just below the left hand of those 2 peaks in front of us. Oh, my nose pitched up way too high. Power's back. Gear coming down. Oh my god, I don't know why, but my microphone is right in front today of my airspeed indicator, which is incredibly useful. Okay, let's let the speed drift down. We'll put some flaps in here. Okay, there we are. 3 stages. A little bit low here, but we want to be coming in as low as possible. Manage our speed. This thing can fly relatively slowly if we want it to. I'm actually going to pull 1 notch back from full flaps in case I need to go around here. But I'm feeling good about this approach. A little bit of turbulence there. Bring her in nice and low. Want to be coming into our little bit of slip just to line us up a bit better. Okay, speed is manageable. Here we go. There we are. Okay, that was way better than I thought it was going to be. I'm just going to stop us here. I know we're just drifting a little bit, but I want to see how far that was away. So, parker the brake on. That's impressive. Okay. That is maybe 1,000 feet. Okay. So what it needs and what it's getting are 2 different things here. We certainly have a lot more than we could definitely use. But this is a great little airport. You have both approaches are viable, which is really nice. Because a lot of small airfields, you've really got one option. And I just dipped into beta there by accident. Okay, let's pull ourselves up here. There we go. Oh, hello. Don't mind me, friend. Parker is set. Fuel is cut. Engine is winding down. Fuel to... The one downside is you can't actually see the fuel cutoff lever from here. Or apparently click it. That is the downside, of course, with this aircraft. Oh, bloody hell. Well, the arms are annoying. I'll give them that. Can I reach any of these? Oh, fuel valve. I can just click the top of it, apparently. And that does our job for us. So, we'll switch off electronics. We'll get the tablet out real quick and we'll take a look outside this thing. I want to show you that cargo door in case no one actually here knows what it's like on a PC-12. Put those on, and we will put on passenger and cargo doors. Let me go fetch my controller, and we'll hop outside. Okay, so we'll you know, ever since I learned how to properly control the camera, I've slowed it down way too much. There we go. Look at that cargo door. See, in full passenger configuration, it's, yeah. But imagine if that was a combi, passengers and cargo. And rather than it being this kind of Carenado favourite executive layout, if you set this up as normal aisled seating, you could fit loads of people in this aircraft. About 12, I believe. Whereas in this one, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, you could fit 12 in regular configurations, or you could do 6 and cargo. It's a huge, huge cargo door designed for a working aircraft. And the nice thing is, decent tall landing gear. And strong mains. Now this little airstrip is a stunner. Got lots of little bits of scenery and detail around here. I do remember the runway being a little different in the first version. This is the one compatible with current conditions in the sim. But what a peaceful little tranquil location. Out in the middle of nowhere. Out here in Patagonia. Almost the upside down Canada. The Canada of Argentina. And there we go. Let's speed up a little bit to get out here. This approach is probably my favourite from this side. You've got leaves and stuff in the water. A couple of guys with their fishing boats. It's pretty. And a gorgeous valley. With gorgeous approaches. I must fly up that way at some point and see what there is there. Especially as it's summer here and pretty and green and absolutely lovely. Unlike my favourite place to fly, the north, where there is lots of airports. Unfortunately, it's really cold and snowy, and there's only so much snow I could take when I've got it here in real life as well right now. So I will stop waffling. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time. I have some exciting stuff coming up, and possibly a Christmas special if I can work out what to do for that. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.